Hello again, welcome back to Downing Street and to some of the other stories making the news tonight. There is no let-up in the disastrous flooding which has devastated large parts of Pakistan. Rising water means tens of thousands remain cut off from vital humanitarian help, and some have even been completely marooned. ITV News has been shown the desperate situation in Sindh province in the southeast of the country. Cut-off communities like Sultan are being rescued by the military. Now, they badly need that help, but to get it, they have to leave their homes behind and endure a precarious evacuation. From Pakistan, our international affairs editor Raghi Omar sent this special eyewitness report.
You would never know it, but until a few weeks ago, all this was a thriving community of villages, agricultural fields, shops, and 3,000 people. But incredibly, many people are still stuck in the few homes which have not been drowned by the floodwaters, and this is a mission to rescue them.
So as you can see, some flood defences have been built along the side with the help of the Pakistani military, and they're taking us in this boat to try and find some people who have survived or have been marooned in their houses and homes, many of which are very, very much submerged.
Where there were once roads and buildings, landmarks which allowed you to find your way, there is now only endless water. A local guide accompanied us to try and find the best route. Trees, houses, petrol stations, even mosques, all consumed by the floodwaters.
So how deep is it?
Water?
Yeah.
20 feet.
20 feet.
The water may be 20 feet in some places, but it's far shallower elsewhere. And suddenly, we had a problem.
What's happened?
Graveyard.
It's a graveyard.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're out of being grounded. Can you see them over there? They're people up to their waists, just coming out that house. Round.
Others who had taken sanctuary on a rooftop guided us in. We had to steer the boat into what had been narrow alleyways of a village. No sooner had we got off the boat than we realized the village of Sultan had been turned into an island in a sea of floodwater. The stranded villagers described what they'd had to endure.
What have you and all the families been eating? No eating.
The villagers began assembling all their worldly goods, stuffed into cases which they were determined to take with them. This woman, standing alone, clutching her handbag with her most precious possessions. I've lived here all my life, Jamila Patti told me. We need help. We've lost everything. Our houses are completely destroyed, and now we'll have to leave our animals behind in all this water. The villagers piled up the cases they were determined not to leave behind.
Some people will come and steal it. They steal it. That's the fear, that obviously the boats are very small. Their priority is to take them, but obviously they want to take their luggage, saying that if they leave their possessions here, who knows what will happen to it. Some people might come and steal it.
The army persuaded them to leave as much behind as they could, which would be guarded by a few villagers who'd remain behind. Then the evacuation started. Mostly of children and women.
Okay, there are now, I've counted, around 20 people, 22 people, including children, on the boat. And the main thing is that we tried to not run aground.
It was a precarious journey back to land. The searing heat and lack of food were taking their toll on the most vulnerable. But there was too a sense of hope and relief. As others looked back on their homes, wondering when they'd return. And finally, they were brought to safety.
It's been 2 weeks, in fact over 2 weeks, since floods devastated a third of Pakistan, affecting 30 million people. It's extraordinary to think that in that time there are still people marooned, desperately in need of being rescued.
And as authorities warn of rising levels of flood waters in southern Sindh province, one wonders how many more cut-off villages like Sultan remain to be rescued. Raghi Omar, ITV News, Pakistan.
Well, some other stories from around the world now, and rescue teams in China are searching for survivors of a powerful earthquake that hit the southwestern province of Sichuan. At least 30 people are known to have died after the tremor triggered landslides and destroyed homes. And police in Canada are still searching for 2 men suspected of stabbing 10 people to death. Multiple victims were found across 13 locations in a remote Indigenous community in the province of Saskatchewan. You are watching the ITV Evening News. Here's what's still ahead before Emmerdale. We speak to Liz Truss's rival turned supporter about whether she can provide a clean break for the country. Harry and Meghan are back in the UK today. Find out why they've made the trip from California. Long before she brought football home, Chloe Kelly took the number 92 home. We're on the buses with England's Euros star.
Just a little girl with big dreams of playing for England, and yeah, looking at Wembley and thinking, wow, like maybe I could be here one day.
And I'm in southeast London, where lightning lit up the city skyline overnight. I'll have more on that and your full national forecast coming up in around 15 minutes.
But our main story tonight, though, is Liz Truss becoming the new leader of the Conservative Party, and from tomorrow, the UK's new Prime Minister. She won 57% of the votes cast by Tory party members, beating former Chancellor Rishi Sunak. In her victory speech in front of Tory MPs, she praised Boris Johnson, pledged to cut taxes and grow the economy. She also said that she would tackle the energy crisis, although there were few new details, or any indeed, on what that help could be.
We need to show that we will deliver over the next 2 years. I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy. I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply.
And the next Prime Minister also said she wants to deliver on the promises which helped the Conservatives win the last election. It's all places like Darlington switched to the Tories after years of backing Labour. Our social affairs correspondent Sarah Corker heard what people there want.
Hundreds of miles away from Westminster, and ask anyone here in County Durham what the new Prime Minister should be focusing on, and the answer is the same.
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
Cost of living under control.
At Darlington's historic market, David's been a butcher for nearly half a century. His costs are soaring and he's dreading the winter.
Diesel's up, petrol's up, all my deliveries cost more to run out, so it's all a knock-on effect, isn't it? It's just, there's nothing coming down, is there?
What do you think of Liz Truss?
She's one of those, I just don't know. I just don't know anything about it.
This so-called red wall town turned Conservative in 2019 for the first time in decades. But despite the promises of levelling up, some pensioners here feel forgotten.
Why isn't somebody helping? And Liz Truss, I don't think she's going to do anything for us.
Irene is a full-time carer for husband Chris.
Oh yeah, blood pressure's good this morning.
They've already cut back on everything they can and are still struggling to cope.
I can't sleep at night. I don't go out. I feel sick. I don't eat very much. But I blame the government. They've done nothing at all but line their own pockets. And it's time something changed.
Here in Darlington, more than a third of children are living in poverty. For many, it's already a financial emergency and it's going to get worse.
The queue for discounted food gets longer every week. The bread and butter thing supports low-income families. Many who need help are working, but their wages are stagnating.
Your gas and your electric and the food, which is massive. So sometimes other people that are working need a little bit more help as well, because they're in the same situation as everybody else.
What do you think of Liz Truss?
Let's give her a chance, and obviously let's hope she does what she's obviously said she's going to do for the nation. We're not asking a great deal, just help us live.
And businesses here are helping struggling families too. This barber is offering free haircuts for children. He's somewhat underwhelmed though by the new Prime Minister.
It couldn't get any worse, put it that way, in my opinion. You know, Boris's track record the last couple of years, I know he had a bad shift to put in, but you know, he's left a bit of a mess behind.
And people here are now waiting for big and bold action from the government to help them get through this crisis. Sarah Corker, ITV News in Darlington.
Well, Liz Truss may have been the favourite to win today, but that wasn't always the case. Now, you may remember in the early stages of the contest, Penny Mordaunt was tipped for that top job. And after being eliminated, though, she threw her support behind the eventual winner. And she joins our political correspondent, Libby Vina, in Westminster now. Over to you, Libby.
Yes, as you say, back in July, Penny Mordaunt was leading the pack ahead of Liz Truss, looking like she was going to be the main challenger to Rishi Sunak. And then in the last round of MPs voting, it was Liz Truss that squeaked into the final two. But very soon afterwards, as you say, Penny Mordaunt did endorse Liz Truss. And I think, Penny, that was a very important moment for Liz Truss's campaign. Why did you think she has what it takes?
Well, I thought it was very important not to sit on the sidelines, but to actually say who I thought would do the best job. And I think she is the best prepared Prime Minister we've had for a very long time. She's got huge ministerial experience. She understands we have to reform Whitehall and Westminster if we're going to deliver for the people of this country. And most importantly, she's got a plan. And she knows what it's going to take to deliver for the people of this country.
When you did endorse her, you said that she was someone you believed could clobber the party's opponents. Does that include stealing their policies, such as a freeze on energy prices?
So she has got a very well thought out plan. During the contest, government ministers have not been idle either. Nadine Zahawi, the Chancellor, has been working through all sorts of options for the incoming Prime Minister. What she is interested in is delivering for people. She understands that
but she does look like
concerned.
She has moved. At the beginning of the contest, she was saying she wasn't in favour of handouts. Now her people are briefing that she is considering a plan that involves a massive amount of government money to help keep prices low. Do you agree with her on that? Should there be some kind of energy price freeze?
What she's talked about in the campaign is that it's not about not giving out handouts, it's about support for people, but she's pointed out the lunacy of taking more tax off people than you need to at the same time. She knows what she stands for and believes in. That's why she resonated so well in the party.
With such a huge investment by government, are tax cuts at all realistic?
But she's also a pragmatist. She's going to want to really deliver absolutely what people need in short order. That's what she's focused on. That's what she's been doing as well as running in this contest. She's well prepared, and you'll see over the next few days she's going to put that team together from the whole of the party's talents and get ready to take the helm tomorrow.
When it came to green policies, you were putting forward a plan for more green jobs. She's talking about tearing up green levies. Do you think she gets climate change?
Of course she does, absolutely. And as Foreign Secretary, she's done a huge amount to further that agenda. What she also knows is it is a growth story. Green tech, the tremendous science base we have in this country, enabling people to develop products from that
Are you going to be pushing her to actually change her mind and not scrap the green levies?
She knows what she stands for. She's not. It's not about her changing her mind. What she wants to do is build a team from the whole party. She's set out in this contest her agenda. We've got behind her and we support her in that. And what we also need to do is listen to members of the public. They want to help too. They've got great ideas. That's the kind of style her leadership absolutely will embrace.
Penny Mordaunt, thank you very much. Now back to you, Mary.
All right. Libby Vina at Westminster, thank you. And you can read more analysis of the key issues Liz Truss is facing in her in-tray as she becomes Prime Minister tomorrow over on our website. That's at itv.com/news. But still ahead on the ITV Evening News tonight, they are back in the UK, but Prince Harry has no plans, it seems, to see his father or his brother. All aboard, England's Euros hero takes a trip down memory lane.
It seems like yesterday I was getting the bus and getting up here to watch the England play.
And after the lightning last night, I'll have news of more warnings of thunderstorms on the way.
High drama in the weather. We'll join Alex and me for that and more right after this break.